Hello friends, welcome to our channel. In this series of videos, I am going to deal with linear integrated circuits. In this introductory video, I would like to cover the following topics: emitter coupled differential amplifier types, DC analysis of dual input balanced output differential amplifier, AC analysis of dual input balanced output differential amplifier, current mirror as biasing circuit for differential amplifier, and operational amplifier internal block diagram with symbol. These are the topics we are going to discuss in this video. First one, what is the need to learn these differential amplifiers? Differential amplifier is the basic building block in the design of operational amplifiers. Operational amplifier is a very versatile device which is used in almost all the applications as amplifier for mathematical operations and for wave shaping circuit design, etc. So it is very much required to have some basic knowledge about these differential amplifiers. These differential amplifiers are generally called as emitter coupled differential amplifiers. Now let us see the circuit of this differential amplifier and the basic information of that, and then the analysis of that circuit, AC analysis as well as DC analysis. Then we see the internal block diagram of operational amplifier. Carefully observe how I am drawing the circuit. There are two transistors, Q1 and Q2. We can use BJTs as well as FETs. BJTs as well as FETs. So a differential amplifier can be made by using BJTs or FETs. So let us see the circuit of BJT. So for the first transistor, this is a B1 terminal, this is a C1 collector, this is a emitter E1, and for the second transistor, this is a C2 terminal, collector 2, this is B2 terminal, base 2, and this is a emitter terminal E2. And we can apply two input signals for the two bases of the differential amplifier. So let us represent the input signal with its Thevenin's model. So this is the VI1 and the corresponding resistance is RI1, internal resistance. And for the second transistor base, another signal, source signal applied is VI2, and the internal resistance of that is RI2. And the outputs at collector 1, let us represent with V01, and the output at collector 2, let us represent with another symbol V02. Now for this differential amplifier, The actual output is taken between the two collectors, which is represented with V naught. At C1 it is minus, at C2 it is plus. The polarities of this V naught are arbitrarily selected as at C2 it is positive and at C1 it is negative. Indicates that C2 is at a little higher potential than that of C1. These two can be interchanged, but this is the notation everybody is following. So let us follow the same notation. If you observe carefully here, the two emitters of both transistors are connected together. That's why this circuit is called as emitter coupled amplifier. And the output of this circuit V0 is equal to V02 minus V01. V0 is the potential difference between V02 and V01. So V0 is equal to V02 minus V01, where V02 is directly proportional to Vi2, which is the input we applied at the base of the second transistor, and V01 is directly proportional to Vi1. So this V0 is now directly proportional to Vi2 minus Vi1. So because the output is directly proportional to the difference between the two input signals, this amplifier is called as differential amplifier or difference amplifier. Difference amplifier. So this amplifier is able to amplify the difference between two input signals. And another interesting point here is, here the circuit is a direct coupled amplifier, direct coupled circuit. There are no blocking capacitors, there are no coupling capacitors, there are no bypass capacitors. So this makes the circuit useful to amplify not only AC signals but also DC signals. Means here the input signals what we apply, Vi1 and Vi2, they may be either AC or DC, or one input may be AC, another input may be DC, or both may be AC or both may be DC. So this circuit is able to amplify AC signals as well as DC signals, but the final output is directly proportional to the difference of the two input signals. That's why it is called as differential amplifier. Some other important points regarding to this circuit are, we assume the two transistors Q1 and Q2 are identical in all respects, means their characteristics are same, and the collector resistances connected to both the transistors, let it is RC1 and this is RC2, are also equal, means RC1 is equal to RC2 is equal to RC. So both are equal, and the emitter resistance Re is common to both. And suppose if the emitter current flowing through transistor 1 is IE and the emitter current through transistor 2 is also IE, because they are identical, then the net current flowing through this Re is 2IE. So the current flowing through emitter resistor Re is 2IE. And another point is, the DC power supplies what we are using, plus VCC minus VCC. So this circuit needs two power supplies, one positive power supply, one negative power supply. To obtain symmetrical outputs, we have to select the magnitudes of both power supplies equal, means magnitude of plus VCC should be equal to the magnitude of minus VEE. Then only we can get a symmetrical amplified output. Another point to be observed is, the output at collector 1 V01 is directly proportional to Vi1. Here both the transistors are operated in common emitter configuration. In common emitter configuration, we know that we get a phase difference of 180 degrees between the collector and base, between output and input. In the same way, here also we get a phase difference of 180 degrees between V01 and Vi1. In the same way, for second transistor, between V02 and Vi2 also we get 180 degrees phase shift. So if Vi1 is positive, V01 will be negative. Suppose if Vi1 is negative, V01 will be positive. If you come to the second transistor, if Vi2 is positive, V02 is negative. If Vi2 is negative, V02 is positive. But if you collect the final output between the two collectors, then we assume that the C2 collector, that is the potential at collector 2, V02 is at a higher potential than that of the potential at C1, which is V01. That's why we represent the polarities as minus at C1 and plus at C2. This is arbitrarily selected. And another important point is, because there are two input signals, the circuit is called as dual input circuit. Dual input circuit. And the output is collected between two collectors. Suppose if you take a single CE stage amplifier without blocking capacitors and bypass capacitors, at the collector we get not only the amplified AC signal, we also get some DC potential, which is the biasing conditions, DC voltage. So at collector C1 and collector C2, there will be AC and DC will be present. That DC is due to the biasing conditions. Suppose if you collect the output V01 with respect to ground, then it will contain both components, the AC component as well as DC component. In the same way, at collector 2 also we get both components, AC as well as DC. And here we are assuming both transistor circuits are identical. The DC component at V01 and the DC component at V02 are equal. So these two terminals are at same DC potential. So if you measure the final output across these two terminals, we get only the AC components difference. Both DC components will be balanced out. That's why this circuit is called as dual input balanced output. Balanced output. So in output, we will not get any DC component because that is balanced out between collector 1 and collector 2. Now let us go to the second topic. The second topic of this video is types of differential amplifiers or differential amplifier configurations. So let us call them as types of differential amplifiers. There are four types of differential amplifiers. 1. Dual input balanced output. In short, DI dual input balanced output, BO, DI BO. And second type is dual input unbalanced output. Dual input unbalanced output, DIUBO. And third type is single input balanced output, SIBO. and the last type is single input unbalanced output. SIUBO. These are the four types of differential amplifiers generally we use in practical applications. The first one, as the name indicates, dual input balanced output. When we call the circuit as balanced output, if you collect the output between two collector terminals, then we say it is called as a balanced output. Here, as we discussed earlier, the DC components are balanced out. So it is called as balanced configuration. And how many input signals are we are giving? Two input signals we are giving. So it is dual input balanced output. And the second one is dual input unbalanced output. When we get unbalanced output, if you collect the output at either of the collectors, either at collector C1 or collector C2 with respect to ground, then we call that configuration as unbalanced output. The reason for this is, if you collect the output at either of the collectors, we get the AC component as well as DC component, both we get. That's why that is called as unbalanced configuration. You can apply the two input signals VI1 and VI2, and you can collect the output at collector C1 with respect to ground or collector C2 with respect to ground. That is called as dual input unbalanced output. In the same way, single input balanced output configuration is like this. Instead of giving two input signals, we give only one input signal. Either you can give VI1 or VI2, and the output will be collected across the two collectors, that is between collector C1 and C2. So it is called as single input balanced output. Why it is called as balanced again? Because if you collect the output between two collectors, the DC components are balancing out. Only we get the amplified versions of AC components. But how many inputs we are giving here? Only one. So the configuration is called as single input balanced output configuration. And the fourth one is single input unbalanced output. We apply only one input, either VI1 or VI2, and output is collected at either C1 or C2, at either of the collectors with respect to common ground, If you take this configuration, this will be exactly similar to that of our CE amplifier which we learned earlier. So this configuration is generally not used in practical applications because this gives only the characteristics of a normal single stage CE amplifier. So this is not generally used, but as the name indicates, it is a single input unbalanced output differential amplifier. These are the four types of differential amplifier configurations, and all these four types are emitter coupled differential amplifiers because the circuit is same, the way how we collect the output and the number of inputs what we give, based on this the configuration name changes. Otherwise there are no other differences. All other points are common to all the four circuits, like both transistors are identical, RC1 is equal to RC2, RE is common, like that. Biasing conditions of Q1 and Q2 are exactly similar. All these points are common to all the four differential amplifier configurations. Our next topic is DC analysis of dual input balanced output differential amplifier. Suppose in electronic circuits, if analysis is to be done, how many type of analysis are there? There are mainly three type of analysis possible. One is DC analysis, other one is AC analysis, and the third one is transient analysis. DC analysis means determining the DC conditions of the given circuit, like operating point values or DC current value through a given component, or the voltage across a given component, like that. So while performing DC analysis, the AC signal which is applied to the circuit should be suppressed to 0. In AC analysis, we are interested only in the relation between AC voltage and AC currents. So generally in AC analysis we calculate the gain of the amplifier, AC output voltage by AC input voltage, or AC output current by AC input current, like that. So during AC analysis, we are not interested in the DC components or DC currents and DC voltages across the components. Hence, we suppress the DC power supplies to 0, or strictly speaking, the DC power supplies are replaced with their internal resistances. We have two DC power supplies regarding to this differential amplifier, that is plus VCC and minus VEE. These two we have to replace with their internal resistances. Generally, we assume the internal resistances of these DC power supplies are 0. So, assuming that the power supplies are ideal. So, during AC analysis, the condition is we have to suppress the DC power supplies to 0, and then we write equations to find out what is desired, whether voltage gain or current gain, whatever it is, simply gain. In transient analysis, we are very much interested to find out the instantaneous voltages or currents through any component or device. Means at any given time instant, what is the voltage, whether it is a final output voltage or the voltage across any given resistor or any other component. Generally, we are interested in voltage, output voltage, or we can also find how the gain changes with the time. Like that also we can perform. So transient analysis means the independent variable is time. In AC analysis, we are interested in how gain changes. The main purpose of AC analysis is how gain changes with respect to frequency. In transient analysis, we are interested in how the output changes with respect to time. So let us see the DC analysis part in this. VI1, what is the notation we used earlier? The notation we used earlier is VI1. So VI1, another AC input is VI2. We are assuming here both inputs are AC. So these two we have to set equal to 0. Now I am redrawing the circuit, the dual input balanced output differential amplifier. When Vi1 and Vi2 are set equal to 0, their internal impedances are written as Ri1 and Ri2 as it is. This is our Q1 transistor, this is our Q2 transistor, and between these two we are taking the output. Collector 1, collector 2, here minus, here plus. This is V0. and this is the emitter resistance Re. The current flowing through this is 2IE, DC current flowing through this, and these two collector resistances are RC, RC. Current flowing through this collector resistance is IC, and current flowing through base terminal is IB. We know collector current is almost equal to emitter current, or emitter current is almost equal to collector current. This notation we use whenever it is required. As we know, both transistors are identical, both collector resistances are equal, emitter resistance is common to both. So the circuit is a symmetrical circuit. If you split the circuit like this, almost the left side circuit and right side circuit are identical. So the currents flowing through collector terminals of both transistors are equal, and the currents flowing through emitter terminals of both transistors are equal, and hence base currents of our two transistors are also equal. So to simplify the DC analysis, we need not consider both the transistor circuits. We can consider only one transistor circuit to simplify the analysis. So I am redrawing the single transistor circuit to find out the DC conditions of the differential amplifier. This is Ri1, this is our Rc, this is our plus VCC DC power supply, and current flowing through this is collector current IC, current flowing through this is base current IB, and this is emitter resistance Re. And what is the current flowing through the emitter resistance? Because the total current we have to consider. So the total current flowing through this is 2IE. If you write only 1IE, you will get wrong answer. The reason for that is the potential that is generated at the emitter of both transistors is minus VEE minus of drop across this resistance. What is the drop across this Re resistance? Current flowing through that is 2IE into Re. So that drop we have to consider. Emitter current is as shown in this diagram. Then in this direction the voltage will drop. When you move from minus VEE upwards, then it will be gain. So when you consider this emitter current direction downwards, at this emitter the potential will be higher, and that potential you should not change when you are doing analysis. Suppose if you write only IE when you consider single transistor circuit, then the potential here will be lesser than that of the entire circuit. So to overcome that mistake, we have to maintain the same current while performing this analysis. Then only the symmetry rule is applicable. Otherwise, we get wrong answers. So the current flowing through Re is 2IE is correct. And here the potential is minus VEE. Like this, we can draw only single transistor circuit. In the same way, you can also draw the transistor Q2 circuit, because both are identical. There is no problem. Any one circuit you can take. In the analysis, what we have to find? We have to find an expression for IC, the collector current, because the input signal we made 0. Whatever the collector current that is flowing is called as quiescent collector current, ICQ, and we have to calculate the voltage between collector and emitter, VCE, the voltage between collector and emitter. Because there is no input signal present here, whatever the DC voltage that is appearing across collector and emitter is called as VCEQ, that is quiescent collector to emitter voltage. So these are called as the coordinates of the operating point. Coordinates of the operating point. So during DC analysis, what we have to find out? We have to find out the expressions for this collector current and collector to emitter voltage. So we have to do derivation for finding these two. So in this we use the formulas, the relations between different currents. What is IB? Because the transistor is operated in its linear region, so IB is given by IC divided by beta. IB is given by IC divided by beta. What is beta? For a transistor, there are two betas defined by the manufacturer. One is beta DC, other one is beta AC. Okay, AC current gain and DC current gain. Because we are performing DC analysis, here we have to take DC beta. So we use this relation during the analysis for finding the expressions for ICQ and PCEQ. So IB is equal to IC by beta DC. This expression we use. And as an approximation, IC is almost equal to IE. This is also we use at the end. If required, we use this. Okay. First, let us find the expression for ICQ. To find out that ICQ, IC, IE are almost equal. So IE we get in this loop. So let us write a loop equation for this base emitter circuit. So write KVL to input loop or base emitter loop. What we get from here to here? The current flowing through RA1 is IB. Assume that IB is existing. So RI1 drop across that. So we get minus RI1 into IB. From base to emitter, this drop is minus VBE. Then drop across this emitter resistance, that is minus 2 IE RE and minus VEE. Drop from minus of minus VEE is equal to 0. This is the KVL for the input loop. In this we have IE term. We know IE is almost equal to IC. So if you get the expression for IE, which is nothing but the expression for IC. Okay. So here what is IB? As I said earlier, IB is equal to IC by beta DC. But IC is equal to IE. So in the place of IB, we can substitute IE by beta DC. Beta DC. So if you substitute that here in the place of IB, and here we get IE, here also we get IE. If you take IE common from these two, we get minus RI1 IE divided by beta DC minus VBE minus 2 IE RE plus VEE is equal to 0. Now you take IE common from these two and send this to the other side, because these two are minus here, they become plus if you send to other side. So we can write the simplified expressions as IE into RI1 by beta DC plus 2 RE is equal to VEE minus VBE. Okay. After rearranging the terms and taking IE common, we get this simplified expression. So from this, IE is equal to VEE minus VBE divided by RI1 by beta DC plus 2 RE. This is the expression for IA. This can be simplified further because for a given transistor, what is the value of beta DC? This is much larger, and RI1, the internal resistance of the input signal, generally its value is smaller, not too large for voltage sources. So if you consider this ratio, this will be much smaller than 2RE. So RI1 by beta DC will be much smaller than 2RE. Hence, this component can be neglected in the above expression. So therefore, our IE we get as the ratio of VEE minus VBE over 2RE. VE is the DC power supply, VB is the base emitter voltage. For silicon it is 0.6 volts, and for germanium it will be about 0.2 volts or 0.3 volts divided by 2RE, where RE is the emitter resistance. But as I said earlier, this emitter current is nothing but our almost equal to collector current. So therefore, our IC is equal to VEE minus VBE by 2RE. That collector current is nothing but our quiescent current. So ICQ is equal to VE minus VBE by 2RE. This many amperes, because voltage VEE and VBE should be expressed in terms of volts and RE should be in terms of ohms. Then volts by ohms will be amperes. So ICQ we get by using this formula. So if you select the transistor and the power supplies, VEE, VBE will be constant. And if you complete the design, then RE value is also constant. So we get a constant collector current. Suppose depending on the location of operating point, where you need your operating point, based on that how much current you want, you can fix the value of this emitter resistance RE. Either way you can do it. Suppose if you fix the RE value, you can know the value of quiescent collector current, or if you fix the value of collector current, then you can easily calculate the value of RE. Either way you can do it. Another interesting point here is IC, the quiescent current is not depending on collector resistance RC. IC is not a function of RC. Suppose if you see our earlier biasing circuits like self bias circuit, fixed bias circuit, collector to base bias circuit, in all those expressions the collector current expression contains the term RC, collector resistance. But here the collector current is not depending on collector resistance, but where it is depending on only RE. Suppose if you can maintain RE stable, your quiescent current will be stable. Then you get a highly stable operating point. That is the advantage of this, one of the advantage of this circuit. And next one is to find out this collector to emitter voltage, because which is in on output loop. So write KVL to this output loop from ground to VCC plus VCC, drop across this minus ICRC, and drop from collector to emitter minus VCE, and then drop from this emitter to this terminal across emitter resistor minus 2 IERE, and from minus VEE to ground again minus of minus VEE. So if you write the loop equation for output loop, we get an equation like this. So if you write KVL to the output loop, we get this equation plus VCC minus ICRC minus VCE minus 2IERE minus of minus VEE is equal to 0. Because we want what is VCE, let us rearrange the terms, send this VCE to right side, then our VCE becomes positive. So therefore VCE is equal to VCC minus ICRC minus 2IERE plus VEE. Okay, therefore VCE is equal to VCC minus ICRC minus 2IERE plus VEE. So if we carefully observe this part, we have already seen earlier when we have written the input loop equation. So in input loop equation, here if you observe, here minus 2IERE plus VEE, that should be equal to this. Minus 2IERE plus VEE is equal to, if you send these two terms to right side, what we get, plus RI1IE by beta DC plus VBE. So in place of this, we can write this part, which makes our analysis more simple. So in the place of this, now I am writing the above part. So these two terms will be as it is, VCC minus ICRC. Those two will become plus RI1IE by beta DC plus VBE. Just that part, this part I have written, because these two should be sent to right side. Here we want minus 2IERE plus VCE. So here minus 2IERE plus VEE. So in the place of that, we need to replace this part. Okay. So because these two should be sent to right side. Once you send these to right side, this minus becomes plus, this minus becomes plus. So here the expression becomes here positive, here also positive. Now observe this expression again. RI1 by beta DC, because beta DC is much larger, as we discussed earlier. This component is very small, so becomes negligible, can be neglected. Therefore the expression for VCE we get as VCC minus ICRC plus VBE. So this is the expression for quiescent collector to emitter voltage. So this we can write as simply VCEQ. So our operating point expressions can be written like this. ICQ is equal to VEE minus VBE by 2RE, and VCEQ is equal to VCC plus VBE minus ICRC. Here by mistake I have written RE. This is RC. ICRC. So these are the coordinates of our operating point. Once you get the coordinates of operating point, we say that DC analysis is completed. DC analysis completed. Okay. The next topic in our discussion is AC analysis of dual input, balanced output, differential amplifier. During this AC analysis, we are very much interested in calculating the differential gain AD and the AC input resistance Ri and output resistance R0. So we have to derive the expressions for these three parameters. To perform the AC analysis, we have to set the DC voltages, supply voltages, power supply voltages to 0. Strictly speaking, we have to replace these power supplies with their internal resistances. Because we are assuming ideal power supplies, their internal resistances are zeros. So we have to set these two equal to 0. Simply short circuit them to the ground. And the transistor, which is an active device, is to be replaced with its AC equivalent model. Here, for the transistor, we use RE model or small signal T model. What is this small signal T model? Suppose if you take a transistor like this, is collector, base and emitter. We know the H parameter model. In H parameter model, approximate H parameter model is like this. And this is base, this is emitter, this is collector, this is known to us. The current flowing through this is IB, and this is HIE, and this is a current source, dependent current source, HFE into IB. This is our approximate H parameter model we use in the place of this transistor. But in small signal T model, another name for this is RE model. RE model. In this, the circuit is like this. This is base, this is emitter, this is collector. This resistance is small Re. This resistance is small Re, and this current is IC. IC. So current through this is represented with IC, and current flowing through base is represented with IB, and current flowing through emitter is represented with IE. Okay, these are the three currents. Again, the relations between these two currents is same as our earlier relation. IE is equal to IC plus IB. There is no difference in this relation. And IB is much smaller. So IE is almost equal to IC. Wherever it is required, we use that approximation also. So now the two transistors should be replaced with this model. And let us draw the AC equivalent circuit for that dual input, balanced output, differential amplifier. The AC equivalent circuit is shown like this. Here this is for transistor 1 and this is for transistor 2. So I name the terminals. This is the first transistor collector, so C1. This is first transistor emitter, E1. This is first transistor base, B1. So this is the input signal given at base 1. Let us call this as Vi1, and this is the corresponding internal resistance of this Ri1. The current flowing through base is IB, and the current flowing through this is IC1. Let us call this as IB1 base current, and collector current is IC1, and this is the Re of the first transistor. The current flowing through this, let us represent it with IE1. And when we come to the second transistor, this is the emitter 2 terminal, and this is collector 2 terminal, and this is base 2 terminal for the second transistor. And the current flowing through this collector is IC2. And this is input signal given at base 2, I2, and the corresponding internal resistance is Ri2. Voltage is Vi2, resistance is Ri2, current flowing through this is, let us represent with IB2, and current flowing through this emitter resistance, this resistance is RE for the second transistor, and the current flowing through this in this direction is, let us represent with IE2. Now if you consider this node, that is the joining place of both emitters, because it is emitter coupled to differential amplifier, the currents entering are IE1 and IE2. So the total current flowing through this RE will be sum of these two currents. If two transistors are identical, then the current flowing through this will be equal to 2IE. That we can write whenever it is required. And when VCC is grounded, this RC will appear between collector C1 and ground. So this is RC. In the same way, when minus VE is grounded, VCC is grounded, the collector 2 is grounded through RC. So all components we represented in this model. Now to find out the voltage gain, we have to represent the voltages across the terminals. The voltage at collector 1 we are representing with V01, and the voltage at collector 2 we are representing with V02, and here positive polarity, here negative polarity, and final output voltage is between these two terminals, that we are representing with V0. The voltage between these two terminals, collector 2 and collector 1, is V0. So we can write a simple equation here as V0 is equal to V02 minus V01. V02 minus V01. Is it clear? So what is V02? The drop across RC. Suppose what is the current through this? That is in this direction. This is IC2, and through this RC current is in this direction. It is IC1. So, okay, here we are taking positive. So current, if it is in opposite direction, then it will be correct. So here V0 will be equal to minus IC2 RC. And what is V01? We are taking here negative. So the other side it should be positive. So that is in this direction. That is in the opposite direction. So I repeat this part. So V0 is equal to V02 minus V01, where V02 is given by the drop across this RC, because current is in opposite direction. That will be equal to IC2 into RC. In the same way, V01 is given by minus IC1 into RC, minus IC1 into RC. So substitute these two in this expression, then we get the expression for final output voltage V0 as minus IC2 RC and minus of minus plus IC1 RC, and take RC common, then we get RC into IC1 minus IC2. So the final expression for our output voltage is equal to RC into IC1 minus IC2. So to find out this voltage, output voltage, we have to find out IC1 and IC2, expressions for IC1 and IC2. Why should we find V0? Because what we want is the gain of the amplifier. How gain is defined? Because this is differential amplifier, the gain we call as differential gain. Differential gain is defined as the ratio of output voltage by differential input, VID. That is the difference. So first find out the expression for V0, then divide with VID, then we get the expression for AD. So in this procedure, first we find the expression for V0, then we divide with VID. What is VID? The differential input, Vin1 minus Vin2. Because we know collector current is almost equal to emitter current. So V0 we can write as RC into IE1 minus IE2. So therefore V naught is equal to RC into IE1 minus IE2. So now the thing to be done is we have to find out the expressions for IE1 and IE2. Then we have to subtract from each other, then substitute in this expression, we get the V naught. Let us call this equation as equation 1. Next, to find the expressions for IE1 and IE2, we have to write loop equations, because in the loops only currents will exist. In which loop IE1 is present? In this loop IE1 is present. So let us represent this loop as loop 1, and IE2 is present in this loop, and let us represent this loop as loop 2. So by writing loop equations for this loop and this loop, we can get two expressions in terms of IE1 and IE2. By solving those two equations, we can find out the expressions for IE1 and IE2. Then we get V naught easily. So if we write a loop equation for this, from here to here it is gain VI1, drop across RI1 minus IB1 RI1, and drop across this emitter resistor RE IE1 into RE, and drop across this capital RE. Current flowing through this is IE1 plus IE2 into RE is equal to 0. By rearranging the terms, we can do some mathematics, and in the same way for the second loop also we can write easily another loop equation VI2 minus RI2 into IB2 minus RE small re into IE2 minus capital RE into IE1 plus IE2 is equal to 0. Then we can rearrange the terms. Let us write the equations. So the loop equation for first loop can be obtained like this: VI1 minus RI1 IB1 minus IE1 RE minus capital RE into IE1 plus IE2. And here, what is IB1? We know earlier that IB is equal to IC by beta. For DC analysis, we have taken beta DC, but here we are now performing AC analysis. So AC beta we have to take. So IB is equal to IC by beta AC, but our IC is almost equal to IE. So here we can write this as IB is equal to IE by beta AC. For transistor 1, IB1 is equal to IE1 by beta AC. For transistor 2, IB2 is equal to IE2 by beta AC, and beta AC is also much larger, much larger. So in the place of IB1, if we substitute that IE1 by beta AC, then the above expression will become VI1 minus RI1 into IE1 by beta AC minus IE1 small re minus RE into IE1 minus RE into IE2. Just I am opening the brackets. So this is the expression we get. And in this expression, if you observe carefully, what is this ratio? RI1 by beta AC. What is RI1? The internal resistance of the first input, that is VI1. Beta AC is very large. So this ratio RI1 by beta AC will be much smaller. So it can be neglected. It can be neglected in comparison. So before neglecting, let us rewrite another expression here as VI1, and here IE1 terms, all IE1 terms you can take common, minus IE1 into this RI1 by beta AC plus small re plus capital RE minus RE into IE2 is equal to 0. Now, as I said earlier, this component is much smaller in comparison with the sum of these two resistances. Hence, this can be neglected. So, neglect this component and send this Vi1 to right side. Then we put this equation in standard form, because in this loop equation what are unknowns? IE1 and IE2. We want these two. So, these two are unknowns, because V0 is equal to RC into IE1 minus IE2. We want to find out IE1 and IE2. They are unknowns. So, in this equation what are the variables? IE1 and IE2. So, let us put this equation in standard notation, standard form. So, here this is small re plus capital RE into IE1 plus RE, capital RE into IE2 is equal to Vi1. If you rearrange the terms, this is the expression we get. So, this is the first loop equation. Let us call this as equation number 2. Call this as equation number 2. In the similar way, if we write KVL to second loop, then the equation will be Vi2 minus Ri2 into Ib2 minus small re into Ie2 minus capital Re into Ie1 plus Ie2 is equal to 0. Again here Ib2 can be written as Ie2 by beta AC into Ri2. So, the remaining terms Vi2 minus Re, Ie2 minus Re into Ie1 plus Ie2 is equal to 0. Again, in comparison with the other components, as we have seen earlier, this component will be negligibly small, hence can be neglected here itself, and take Ie2 common from this and rearrange the terms. We get an equation in terms of IE1 and IE2 like this: Re into IE1 plus small re plus capital Re into IE2 is equal to V in 2. This is the expression we get after rearranging the terms. Okay. Again, this equation is in terms of IE1 and IE2. Let us call this equation as equation number 3. Now, if you observe carefully, equation number 2 and equation number 3, IE1, IE2 are the two variables. To solve two unknowns, two equations are sufficient, or two equations are required. We have two equations on hand. So, we can easily solve these two equations. Then we can find out the values for IE1 and IE2. You know how to do that mathematically, solving simultaneous equations. So, directly I am writing the expressions for IE1 and IE2. So, by solving equations 2 and 3, we get the expressions for IE1 and IE2 as follows. IE1 is equal to Re plus small re plus capital Re into Vi1 minus capital Re into Vi2 divided by Re plus Re whole square minus Re square, and I2 is obtained as IE2 can be obtained as small re plus capital Re into Vi2 minus Re into Vi1 divided by Re plus Re whole square minus Re square. It is not difficult to find out these expressions by solving the above two equations. Now, to find out the output voltage, what is the expression we have? V0 is equal to RC into IE1 minus IE2. IE1 minus IE2. We got the expressions for IE1 and IE2. So now we have to subtract IE2 from IE1. So therefore IE1 minus IE2, if you calculate, we get an expression like this: small re plus 2 into capital RE into VI1 minus VI2 divided by small re plus capital RE whole square minus RE square. If we expand this square, we get an expression like this: small re square plus 2 small re capital RE plus capital RE square minus capital RE square. So these two will cancel out. So in the denominator you can take RE common. Then this becomes RE into RE plus 2 capital RE. In the numerator also there is RE plus 2RE. These two will cancel each other. So this can be simplified further as is equal to RE plus 2RE into VI1 minus VI2 divided by small re into small re plus 2 into capital RE. This one will cancel out. So finally we get the difference between IE1 and IE2 as VI1 minus VI2 divided by RE. So therefore IE1 minus IE2 is equal to this much. Is this expression right or wrong? We can easily verify by checking the units on both sides. Left side is current, right side is voltage by resistance. So definitely right side is also current, voltage by resistance. So this expression is right. Therefore V0 is equal to RC by RE into VI1 minus VI2. But what is this VI1 minus VI2? This is nothing but the difference between the two input signals, which we represent as VID, the differential input. VID is represented with VI1 minus VI2. So therefore our V0 is equal to RC by RE, small re, into VID. This is the expression for output voltage. Therefore our differential gain AD is equal to, which is defined as V0 by VID differential input, is equal to RC by small re. So therefore the expression for differential gain AD is equal to RC by small re. This is the formula for differential gain of the differential amplifier. One thing you can observe here, this differential gain is independent of RE. It is independent of RE. That point you remember. And what is the value of this differential gain? If you observe, this RE value is much smaller in comparison with the RC. Hence, the AD value will be very large. AD value will be very large. That's why for any differential amplifier or operation amplifier, the differential gain will be very large. Is it voltage gain or current gain? It is only voltage gain. Remember one point, for differential amplifiers, current gain is not defined. Current gain is not defined. Remember, so don't calculate current gain for differential amplifiers. Current gain not defined for any differential amplifier. Differential amplifiers. only voltage gain we define. So gain means only voltage gain. So differential gain is given by RC by RE. Generally for any voltage gain there are no units. It is a simple ratio. Here it is a ratio of two resistances. So there are no units. So our expression is correct. If you observe, what is the value of Re? That is the dynamic resistance of emitter region, which is generally very small. So denominator is very small comparative to numerator. Then what will be the value of this differential gain? Which will be very large. So if you select an appropriate value of RC, then you can get a desired differential gain AD. Suppose if your gain is fixed, then you can select RC value appropriately. Or if you fix the value of RC, you can know how much differential gain you can get. Okay, this is how the differential gain can be obtained for this dual input balanced output differential amplifier. In the same way, for the remaining three configurations of differential amplifiers, we can find out the gain of the amplifiers. I would like to tell you a small analogy in the gain expression. Suppose if you are using our H parameter model and find out the voltage gain, what is the expression we get? The expression what we get is current gain AI into load resistance divided by input resistance. This is the expression we get. So if you use approximate model, then our current gain will be nothing but HFE into RL. Load resistance will be our collector resistance RC and input resistance will be equal to HIE. This is the simplified expression we get for voltage gain of CE configuration by using a H parameter model. What is this HFE? This is nothing but beta AC. So HFE small letters is equal to beta AC. HFE capital letters is nothing but beta DC. These notations are not wrong. These notations both are correct. Okay. So HFE we can write as beta AC into RC by HIE. HIE we can write in terms of RE model as beta AC into RE. HIE is equal to beta AC into RE. So if I write that here beta AC into RE, then beta AC will cancel out. The gain will be equal to RC by RE. So what is the gain I get? This one. What is the gain expression I got? This one. Are they same or not? They are same. So even though you use H parameter model to find out this voltage gain expression and then replace in terms of RE, you will get the same expression. But every author is using this RE model. That's why I also used here the RE model. RE model is more simpler and easier to apply on any BJT circuits. Okay, right. The next parameter to be calculated is input impedance or input resistance RI. Because there are two input signals, how can you define this input resistance RI? For each input we can define RI1. For example, if you are viewing between base of the first transistor with respect to ground, then the input impedance RI1 can be defined as the VI1 divided by IB1, the ratio of input voltage at base 1 to the base current when the other input VI2 is set equal to 0. And if you consider another transistor, then the input impedance can be written as RI2. Then it is defined as the ratio of VI2 divided by IB2 when Vi1 is set equal to 0. By using these simple definitions, we can calculate the input resistance. So first, Ri1 is equal to Vi1 divided by IB1. Just for simplicity, I am not using the modulus here, but it should always be positive. So take the modulus, positive value only. So what is IB1? Our IB1 is nothing but IE1 by beta AC. What is IE1? For this we already derived the expression earlier. So IE1 is given by, so let us go above our IE1 expression. RE plus RE into VI1 minus RE into VI2 by RE plus RE whole square minus RE square. Let us write that equation. IE1 is equal to small re plus capital RE into Vi1 minus capital RE into Vi2 divided by RE plus capital RE whole square minus RE square. So here we have to apply the condition. What is the condition? Because we are calculating for the first transistor, so we have to set Vi2 is equal to 0. So if you set in this equation Vi2 is 0, this component will become 0. So in the numerator, what is remained? Re plus Re into Vi. And in the denominator, earlier we expanded this. If we expand this, small re square plus 2re plus re square. Re square will cancel out. And if you take small re common, that becomes small re into re plus 2 capital Re. This also we did just now above. So I need not do it again. Directly I am writing that here. Okay. So therefore, our Ra1 is equal to Vi1 into beta AC. This beta AC will go to the numerator. So divided by IE1 numerator will come to the denominator here. Re plus capital Re into Vi1, and IE1 denominator will go into the numerator. So that is small re into small re plus 2 capital Re. This is the expression. So now Vi1, Vin1 will cancel each other, and in the numerator there is Re plus 2 Re. We know that small re is much smaller than capital Re. So in the numerator, this small re can be neglected. In the same way, in the denominator also, we can neglect this small re. Then that expression is simplified as beta AC into small re into 2 capital Re divided by capital Re. This capital Re will cancel out. Finally, we are remaining with 2 small re into beta AC, or 2 beta AC into small re. So therefore, what is the input resistance of this differential amplifier? 2 beta AC into small re. What is the value of beta AC? Very large. So input impedance will be very large. And observe here one more point. This Ri input impedance is not depending on the value of capital Re. Not depending on the value of capital Re. Means it is independent of capital Re. That is one of the interesting point to be remembered. In the same way, if you find out the input impedance for transistor 2, Ra2 we can get as same expression, 2 beta AC into Re. There will not be any difference because the two circuits are symmetrical with each other. So this is the input impedance of the dual input balanced output differential amplifier. And the last parameter in AC analysis is output impedance. So the output impedance R0. The output impedance R0 is defined as the resistance seen between any of the output terminals with respect to ground. Here we have two output terminals, collector 1 and collector 2. If you are viewing into the collector terminal 1 with respect to ground, then that output resistance we can call as R01. Suppose if you are viewing between the collector terminal 2 with respect to ground into the circuit, then the output resistance can be defined as R02. Because the two circuits are identical with each other, R01 will be equal to R02. What is this resistance? If you carefully observe the circuit, you can see between collector 1 and ground, what is present? Only RC is present. So R01 will be equal to RC. In the same way, between collector 2 and ground, what is present? RC. So R02 is also equal to RC. Therefore, the output impedance is equal to RC only. There is no more equations required to find out the output resistance for this dual input balanced output differential amplifier. This is the AC analysis of dual input balanced output differential amplifier. Okay. Remember one important point. Yes, I am repeating this. By using this differential amplifiers, we can obtain voltage gain only. Current gain is not defined for differential amplifiers. Current gain is not defined for differential amplifiers. Only voltage gain is defined. Here in the above analysis, we calculated the differential voltage gain. So we calculated differential voltage gain only. Another important topic, let us see, which is very simple and very important and very useful. Pertaining to operation amplifier, one parameter CMRR, common mode rejection ratio. This CMRR is defined as the ratio of differential mode gain to common mode gain. Differential mode gain to common mode gain. Magnitude of this value is defined as CMRR. And this parameter tells us how much common mode signal is rejected. So actually, at the output of the differential amplifier, we want only the amplified version of difference of the two input signals, not the common mode value. Common mode value is also called as average value of that. So whatever the average value is there, common to both input signals should be cancelled out. How much that differential amplifier is able to eliminate to amplify the common mode value is expressed by this value of CMRR. Ideally, its value should be very, very large. Ideally infinite. Practically, its value should be very large. How can we get an expression for this CMRR? Just let us discuss that, because which is very simple. The CMRR, as per definition, it is defined as a ratio of differential gain to common mode gain. Differential gain expression just now we derived earlier. What is the expression for differential mode gain? AD RC by RE. This is the expression we derived earlier. Then to find out CMRR, which gain we have to obtain? Common mode gain, ACM, we have to calculate. Let us do that calculation now, which is very simple. Okay, because differential amplifier circuit is symmetrical, we can consider only one transistor. When both transistors are applied with two input signals, the current flowing through emitter resistor is 2IE. That you remember. So the circuit I am drawing like this. This is minus VEE, this is our RE, and this is our base, one input signal. Let us, this is Vi1, this is Ri1, and here plus VCC, and this is our RC. This is our RC. Let this is C1 terminal, this is B1 terminal, and this is E1 terminal. Assume that I am considering first transistor, and the voltage here is V0 1. The input is Vi1, and current flowing through this RE is 2IE. So to obtain the symmetric operation, here we have to take 2 times RE. Then only the potential at emitter will be maintained. Otherwise we get wrong values. So this is now the exact expression for this common mode amplifier. And this common mode gain can be defined as the ratio of V01 to Vi1. Okay. So what is V01? To find out the expression for V01 and then divide with Vi1, we get the common mode gain. Then we can substitute in this expression. So which analysis we have to perform now? AC analysis or DC analysis? Because the gain what we want is in which we are interested is AC gains. So we have to perform AC analysis. So to perform AC analysis, suppress all DC power supplies to 0. That is 0. This is also 0, made 0. Now draw the AC equivalent circuit and replace the transistor with its RE model or small signal T model, which we used earlier. The same model we have to use. So let us draw the circuit and then write equations. The T model is like this. This is collector. This is collector current. This is base terminal. This is emitter terminal. This is RE. This is IC. Connect the input signal here. Between base and ground, we have Vi1. This is Ri1. Here we have 2Re, and between collector and ground we have RC. So the AC equivalent circuit can be drawn like this, and the current flowing through base terminal is IB1. Current flowing through collector terminal is IC1. Because we are considering transistor 1, the terminals we can represent with base 1, emitter 1, collector 1, and current flowing through this RC collector resistance is IC1 with here positive. We can take, no problem, because we are separately considering. Anyway, for CMRR we are taking that modulus, and current flowing through this emitter we can represent with IE1. Like this we can draw the AC equivalent circuit using this RE model. Now what we want, where we have to take output at collector 1. Here it is V0 or V01 with respect to ground. Here we take the output. So what is the, which output it is? Is it a differential output or common mode output? This is common mode output. So let us call this as VOCM, common mode output voltage. Then we can define the common mode gain ACM as VOCM by Vi1.
So to find out this common mode gain, we have to find out the expression for VOCM, and then we have to divide with VI1. What is VOCM? The voltage across collector resistance RC. So what is the drop across this? That is minus IC1 into RC into IC1. This is the expression. But IC is in which direction? That is in opposite direction. So this VOCM will be equal to RC into IC1. But as per our earlier assumptions, this IC1 is almost equal to IE1. Therefore, this is equal to RC into IE1. So our common mode output will be equal to RC into IE1. So it is required to find out the expression for IE1. Where IE1 we have in this loop. So write KVL to this loop. So here IE1 earlier I represented in this direction because here there is a node, but actually when IB1 is entering into this node and IC1 is also entering into this node, the IE current will leave this node. So IE will be in this direction, downwards towards ground. IE1 will flow. Okay. Then we get correct loop equation. So write the input loop equation for this loop. So what we get is VI1 minus RI1 into IB1 minus, these two resistances are in series with each other. So the sum of the resistances RE plus 2RE into IE1 is equal to 0. This is the loop equation for the input loop. And what is this IB1? Earlier we discussed about this. IB1 is equal to IC1 divided by beta AC, because we are discussing AC analysis, which is nothing but IE1 by beta AC. Then this becomes RI1 IE1 divided by beta AC. But this RI1 beta AC is much smaller, hence that can be neglected. So in this expression, this component can be negligibly small, so hence can be neglected. Therefore, VI1 is equal to RE plus 2RE into IE1. Therefore, IE1 is equal to VI1 divided by small re plus 2RE. Here also again, small re is much smaller than 2RE. RE is much smaller than 2 into capital RE. Therefore, this emitter current IE1 we can write as VI1 by 2RE. We can write like this. So if you substitute this IE1 in our expression VOCM, then we get VOCM as our common mode output voltage. VOCM is equal to RC into IE1. So VI1 by 2RE. Therefore, the common mode gain ACM can be obtained as RC by 2RE. RC by 2RE. This is the expression for common mode gain. So like this, in a simple way, we can obtain the common mode gain of the differential amplifier. Okay. Once we get the expressions for common mode gain and differential mode gain, it is very easy to get the expression for common mode rejection ratio, CMRR. CMRR is equal to AD by AC. So once we get the expression for common mode gain, we already derived earlier the differential mode gain. Then it is now very easy to find out the expression for CMRR, which is defined as the ratio of AD to AC. And what is AD? We got earlier AD is equal to RC by RE, RC by small re. So let us substitute that here. So AD is equal to RC by small re divided by ACM, ACM common mode gain. ACM is given by RC by 2 capital RE. RC will cancel each other and this 2RE will go into the numerator. Therefore, CMRR will be equal to 2 capital RE divided by small re. So, CMRR will be equal to 2 capital RE divided by small re. So, if you observe carefully, RE value is much smaller. So, the ratio of capital RE by small re will be very large. That's why it is possible to get CMRR value much larger. What we can understand if CMRR value is much larger? If you see this definition, if the ratio of AD to ACM is large, indicates that AD is much larger and ACM is much smaller. That indicates the differential component is amplified with more gain and the common mode component is amplified with less gain. That what is required in our practical applications. So which we can achieve by using this differential amplifier, especially emitter coupled differential amplifier. Okay. Another important topic related to this differential amplifiers is the biasing circuit. Biasing circuit. Here in most of the IC fabrications, which biasing circuit is used is current mirror bias circuit is used. What is a current mirror circuit? Suppose if any circuit is there, if some current entering into this, let us call this as source current, and let the output current, let us call this as sink current. Generally output current is called as sink current. So this is any circuit. Suppose if source current is equal to sink current, then that circuit is called as current mirror circuit. That circuit is called as current mirror circuit. So for any current mirror circuit, the sink current is always equal to the source current. The advantage of this circuit is normally constant current bias circuit is used in differential amplifiers, but it needs more number of components, more resistances are required for that. If we go for current mirror circuit, then less number of components are sufficient. One resistance and two transistors are sufficient to get a constant stable current. In all integrated circuits, generally the current mirror biasing circuits are used. Let us see how the circuit looks like. This is IC3. This is the transistor Q3. In our differential amplifier, what we have seen earlier, there are two transistors Q1 and Q2, and there is an emitter resistor used. That emitter resistor is replaced with another transistor Q3 in constant bias circuit. So whatever the current that is flowing through that collector of this Q3 is IC3, which is nothing but the total emitter current flowing through that RE. Total current flowing through RE. That current, this current are equal. So here it is represented with IC3, and here it is connected to minus VEE. So in this current mirror circuit, one resistance is connected to this and another transistor Q4 is connected like this. Emitter of that Q4 transistor is connected to minus VEE, and the collector and the base are connected to the base of the third transistor, and one resistance, you can call this as R1 or R2 or R, no problem, is connected between the base of the third transistor and ground. Because in the textbook it is represented with R2, so I also represent here with R2, and the current flowing through this is I2. So for this entire circuit, what is the input current? Current entering into this is I2. What is the output current? Current flowing through this is IC3. So if this circuit is called as current mirror circuit, this IC2 should be equal to IC3. So that we prove now. So this IC3 will be almost equal to IC2. Because of that reason only, this circuit is called as current mirror circuit. Okay. So let the current flowing through R2 is I2, and let the current entering into this Q3 transistor is base terminal is IB3, and current flowing through this transistor Q4 base is IB4, and current flowing through the collector of this Q4 transistor is IC4. Okay, let us represent like this, the currents flowing through the transistors. Now let the emitter current flowing through this is naturally IE3. IE3 is almost equal to IC3. That is known to us. Now at this node, let us call this as node A. At node A, if you apply KCL, what we get? Current entering is I2. So I2 is equal to, what are the other currents that are leaving? IC4 plus IB4 plus IB3. IC4 plus IB4 plus IB3 that are flowing at node A. Okay, so it is not difficult to write this KCL. Here we assume that the transistors Q3 and Q4 are exactly identical. Because they are identical, their base currents IB3 and IB4 will be equal, and their collector currents IC3 and IC4 will be equal because they are identical. Okay, so by using this, if we rewrite the expression, above expression, our I2 will be equal to IC3 plus IB4 plus IB3 is nothing but 2IB3. But what is IB3? We know the relation between IB and IC. IB3 is equal to IC3 by beta DC, because in linear region the relation between base current and collector current is given by IC is equal to beta IB. Therefore IB is equal to IC by beta. Because here we are discussing about only the biasing conditions, the beta should be beta DC. So in the place of IB3 we can write IC3 by beta DC. So this becomes IC3 plus 2 into IC3 by beta DC. So if you take IC3 common, IC3 into 1 plus 2 by beta DC. So this is the expression we get. Okay, but what is the value of this beta DC? Large. Because beta DC is large, 2 by beta DC will be much smaller in comparison with 1. So this component can be neglected because which is very small. Therefore I2 is almost equal to IC3. What is I2 here? As we have seen in the above circuit, I2 is the input current. I2 is the input current. Here IC3 is the output current here. So I2 is the source current, IC3 is the sink current. Both are equal. So this circuit is a current mirror circuit. So from this we can easily say the circuit is a current mirror circuit. Now we need an expression for this I2 because we have to design the circuit. So for that, let us write a loop equation for this loop. Let us take this loop. I2 is in this direction. So in this direction the drop is minus I2 R2, and from here to base to emitter it is a VBE drop minus VBE, and here minus VEE to ground. So minus of minus VEE becomes a plus VEE. So therefore KVL to the shown loop, what we get? Minus I2 R2 minus VBE minus of minus VEE is equal to 0. So therefore I2 is equal to how much? If you send I2 term to that side becomes plus, and this is plus VEE minus VBE. So I2 is equal to VEE minus VBE divided by R2. So this is the expression for I2 current, which is nothing but our IC3. Now it is not difficult to find out a value for R2 for a required bias current IC3. Okay, so like this, the current for this current mirror circuit can be obtained as VEE minus VBE by R2. Okay, this is about current mirror circuit and its design. Last topic of this video, this part of the video is operational amplifier internal block diagram. Generally, operational amplifier consists of 4 blocks. The first block consists of 2 input terminals and 2 output terminals, which is a differential amplifier. So this is called as a dual input balanced output differential amplifier. And the second stage consists of 2 input terminals and 1 output terminal. Again, this is also a differential amplifier stage with 2 inputs and only 1 output. So this is dual input unbalanced output differential amplifier. Okay, and the third stage consists of 1 input and 1 output terminal. This is called as level translator. Okay, its main function is removing the DC component, unwanted DC component. Where the DC component is introduced? At this output of unbalanced differential amplifier. Dual input unbalanced output consists of AC component as well as some DC component. Because at the output of dual input balanced output, we have only AC component. The difference is amplified, whether it is AC or DC, irrespective of that. Both collectors are at the same DC potential, so it is called as a balanced output, as we have seen earlier. So at the output of this unbalanced output configuration, we have some DC component, bias component. Thus, that component is nullified by using this level translator. Generally, here a common collector configuration with potential divider circuit is used. Common collector configuration with potential divider circuit is used, which is a very simple circuit. And the last stage is called as a driver stage, which consists of one input terminal and one output terminal. The second terminal is ground. All the outputs are with respect to ground except for the first one. Driver stage. This is also called as a power amplifier stage, output stage. So many names are there: power stage, driver stage. At the end, we connect the load. This is the internal block diagram of operational amplifier. Every time we cannot use this block diagram to represent the operational amplifier. So a simple symbol is used to represent the operational amplifier, which is like this. It is a triangle with one output and two inputs. With one output and two inputs. These two inputs are V1, V2. V1 is called as inverting input, V2 is called as non-inverting input, and the output is with V0. So here in the block diagram there are two inputs, one is V1, other one is V2. The final output after driver stage is V0. So all these blocks are kept in the triangle. So the entire circuit has only two input signals and one output signal. And for the operation of this operation amplifier circuit, DC power supplies are required. One is plus VCC, other one is minus VEE. Generally, if required, we represent these minus VE and plus VEE, VCC. Otherwise, we assume that they are present. So, in most of the circuits, we represent with only two input terminals, one output terminal, and the gain of the amplifier is written with the symbol A within the circuit. Here, the gain means that A is AOL. AOL stands for open loop gain, open loop voltage gain. Its value will be given by the manufacturer. Normally its value is about the order of 10 to the power of 5, very high, because as I said earlier, operation amplifier is a very versatile integrated circuit. In that, differential amplifier stages are used in cascade to get the more gain, and the input impedance of this is very high and the output impedance is very low. All these points we discuss in the subsequent videos. Okay, this is about this emitter coupled differential amplifiers and its AC analysis, DC analysis, current mirror circuit and its design, analysis, and internal block diagram of the operational amplifier and operation amplifier symbol. Thank you friends for watching this video, and in subsequent videos we discuss some other topics related to this operational amplifier.